Alright, Algebra 2, welcome to Module 3, Unit 10, Lesson 3. We're going to graph logarithms and exponential functions and take a look at their relationships. Alright, so complete the following table, it says, on our opening exercise, 2 to the x, and then sketch the graph y equals f of x, and then reflect it over the diagonal y equals x is what we're going to do. So first we've got to complete this table. So you should know that 2 to the 0 power is 1, and 2 to the first power is 2, and 2 squared is 4, and 2 to the third is 8. And going the other way, 2 to the negative 1 would be 1 over 2 to the first, so that's at 1/2. And then this is 1 over 2 squared, so that's 1/4, and this is going to be 1/8. So you can fill in your point if you want. -3 is comma 1/8, and -2 is comma 1/4, etc. -1 is 1/2, 0 is 1, 1 is 2, 2 is 4, and 3 is 8. Alright, so let's go make the graph with these points. So 0 is 1, 1 is 2, 2 is 4, 3 is up 8. If I go the other way, I take a look and I've got -1 is at 1/2, -2 is at 1/4, -3 is at 1/8, and you get this graph. Oops, let's see what we got here, going up like this. Okay, and that's y equals 2 to the x. Now, it says they want you to flip it over, basically sketch the graph of the diagonal first, I guess, of y equals x. So you should know that y equals x means it got to be the same, so 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, etc. You can go -1, -1, etc. I'm off a little bit there. But you get the idea, y equals x. And now they want us to reflect it across that line. So what happens? This point goes directly at it and goes past it, ends up over here. This point goes at it, goes directly past it, ends up over here. Okay, etc. This point will end up over here. So -1 up 1/2 is going to be over 1/2 down 1, etc. And then -1, let's see, 1/4 over will be down 2, etc. here. Going the other way, 4 is up 2, and 8 will be up 3. And we're going to have this, which you should recognize what that is. Okay, we just spent a couple days graphing that. And yes, if you get the occasion here, think about it, it's going to be the logarithm, which is going to be the inverse flipping over of that. And sure enough, here we go, we're going to fill in the table here. So if I do the log base 2 of 2, you know that's going to be a 1. And 4 is going to be up 2, and then you're going to be up 3 going this way. And if I do base 1, log base 2 of 1 is going to be 0. And at 1/2, if you plug it in and figure it out, is going to be equal to a -1, a -2, a -3. So you get your points, -1/2, comma 3, -1/4, comma -2. And of course you can fill in that chart. Now we're going to go and we're going to graph them. So I'm at 1, 0, 2 is up 1, 4 is up 2, 8 is up 3. Going the other way at -1, sorry, at -1/2. We're down 1. Well, we got to talk about that here, because actually you need to change these 3 to positive in order to get the negative results that I talked, so I skipped a little bit. So you got to change that to positive. So by changing it, you're going to multiply by negative. Remember, it turns out to be y then equals negative log base 2 of x. So that's where these negative signs came out right here when we did this. So it's actually positive now. I got to fix that. 1/8, and it goes -3. Whoops. And positive 1/4 and positive 1/2, sorry, comma -1. And so at a half, I'm down 1. Then I'm down a quarter down here, and an eighth is here, and we get the same typical logarithm. So that's y log base 2 of x looks like. All right, next up it tells us sketch the diagonal again, y equals x. So I'm going to change colors again, so we'll go with that down the middle. And of course that's going right through the middle here all the way. Hey, I did a little better at it this time. And now we're going to reflect it over that line y equals x. And sure enough, what happens? Okay, 1, 0 becomes 0, 1, 2, 1 becomes 1 up 2, 4, 2 becomes 2 up 4, etc., and 3 will go up 8. And then the half down 1, -1, will be -1 up a half, etc. And here you go. There's a reflection. Now, what do you notice between this graph right here and the one we just did a moment ago? We started with the exponent, flipped it over here and got the log, and now we're starting with the log, flip it over y equals x, and what do you get? The exponential function. So what does that tell you? I'm going to write that just as the key thing right now, right here. That means we've got inverses. They're the inverse of each other over y equals x, remember. Okay? So they are inverses. So our conclusion here is from the open exercise, it is clear that a reflection over the y equals x line of the graph of a, graph of an exponential function. I'll just abbreviate expo, is the corresponding log function and vice versa. So they are the inverses of each other. That's what you want to put down, inverse. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the next exercise here. That's the big discovery I want to get to, and I want to get a little bit more in on this video, and then we'll finish up this lesson in class and practice it. So if we're taking a look at this right now, I want you to work independently right here, but they want you to graph f of x equals 3 of x, and g of x is going to be the log base 3 of x. So if, I think you guys can stop and think about it for a moment, if we did f of x before equals 2 to the x power, and then we did for the g of x was log base 2 of x, and they were inverses, what do you think is going to happen here? Should give you a little clue. You just got to throw them in the calculator, get your points, or know the ones you've gotten, how the relationship is. So pause the video for a moment. I want you to try to create little tables and graph these two and see what you come up with. Okay, so I have two tables here right now. And I did the exponential one first here in red. Okay, so we're going to plot that in red on the graph. And I did the logarithmic one with log base 3 of x. Tough to see up here the way I wrote it, but it's all right. And that's our g of x they asked you to do. So pause the video again, plot the points, and let's double check and see if your idea, if you came up with what I was encouraging you to come up with. All right, so anyways, back to this here. You should have these two graphs. You should notice a relationship. And once again, if I decide to draw in the y equals x, you should recognize something again. These two were, hopefully what your hunch was, that they are inverses. All right. Now, if you want, what I would have you do is go on and try number 3 on your own. See if you can sketch this so we can get ready for class then tomorrow. And we're going to take and answer the rest of the questions in your packet and go from there. But it's a good breaking point. Partway in, you've dabbed into it a little bit. You've gotten to graph the exponential. You've gotten to graph the logarithm. And you have discovered the relationship there. Yes, they are inverses. And we're going to tackle that a little bit more, as well as all the pieces that go along with this as far as things go. All right, have a good day. We'll see you in class.